especially with that coffee. Kellen's grumpy, walking away from my video. He's trying to get away. View from our room. We stayed at the Westin DC City Center. The location was pretty good because it's walkable to a lot of sites, museums, and restaurants. It's a really good place if you're a Mormon because look, they have their own book room. We kicked off our trip with a late dinner at Amazonia, which is the laid-back rooftop bar that's part of the Michelin-starred Peruvian restaurant Causa. We had some delicious cocktails, a variety of grilled skewers, some ceviche, and a tuna tiradito. The food was amazing and ended up being the best we had during the entire trip. The second day of our trip was on Thanksgiving Day. You can see it started out a bit rainy and overcast, but it cleared up by the afternoon. DC during the holiday was great. As you can see, there wasn't a lot of traffic or tourists in the street. Finding a spot to eat breakfast was a little challenging due to the holiday, but we found a little cafe open called the Baker's Daughter. I got the chef's breakfast sandwich while Kellen got the braised short rib breakfast bowl. Both were okay, but probably the best we could do given all the places that were closed. Happy Thanksgiving.
What?
Happy Thanksgiving.
I thought you said everything's steady.
What did you say?
Japanese meat.
What did you think? Yeah.
It's pretty good. Besides the teeny chairs that I couldn't fit in.
How was your food?
Delicious. I hate this.
After breakfast, we decided to walk to the National Botanical Garden, stopping by to see Ford's Theater, which was on the way. It's actually that white and brick building to the right of this shot, and it's where President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Across the street is the building where Lincoln actually died, but it was closed while we were there. If you keep walking down 10th Street, you'll hit Constitution Avenue, which is part of the National Mall and where most of the Smithsonian museums are located. During normal tourist season, the streets are lined with food trucks. Along the way, we found the Sculpture Garden, which was right across the street from the National Gallery of Art. The park has all kinds of hidden art pieces, like this mosaic by famous artist Marc Chagall. I don't know what they have installed during the spring or the summertime, but while we were there, they had an ice rink going on. There were so many cool, funky art sculptures. I recommend walking through the park if you can. It's very scenic with gorgeous landscaping as well. After leaving the garden, we continued walking down the mall towards the Botanical Garden, which actually sits at the very end of it next to the U.S. Capitol buildings. Across the Capitol on the other side of the park is the George Washington Monument, and the Lincoln Memorial sits right behind that, but we didn't head that way on this trip. You're not being very helpful in this documentation. Ouch! There's Kellen as we arrive in the Botanical Garden. that photo, you crow. So considering it's our national botanical gardens, the actual building was smaller than I anticipated. There were, however, a lot of people inside, probably trying to get a break from the cold. Since we were there in the off-season, we didn't see a lot of the outdoor exhibitions, mainly just the conservatory, which has a second floor you can take an elevator to, and a few inside halls that had tropical and desert plants. It was still really beautiful though, and I recommend checking it out. The outside had a giant model train display going on, which was pretty cool to see. After the gardens, we made our way to the National Portrait Gallery for our second museum stop. But first we stopped at the National Art Gallery for a quick snack and a little break. Where are we, Kellen?
What?
Where are we?
National Gallery Park.
No.
No,
What'd you get?
espresso on espresso.
What's it called? The affogato. You forgotto. That was the issue with the Tulum footage. The National Portrait Gallery is combined with the American Art Museum, not to be confused with the National Art Museum, because yes, that is confusing, and it's actually not on the mall, but located in the Penn Quarter. I wanted to go there because I read it had a wider selection of art, ranging from folk to colonial to modern, which sounded more interesting. A pretty cool exhibit was this one from a folk artist named James Hampton. He created this whole assembly out of aluminum foil, plastic, paper, and cardboard. One of my favorite sections was the Presidential Portrait Gallery, where we got to see President Obama's painting, as well as the one of President Clinton by Chuck Close. There were also these funky TV installations on one of the floors, but the icing on the cake for me was seeing this Albert Bierstadt painting, Among the Sierra Nevada, in person. I've only ever seen it in art books, and it was absolutely ginormous in person and truly breathtaking. Afterwards, we headed back to the hotel to get ready for dinner. We took my favorite mode of transport in DC, which are e-scooters. I love riding them so much, and while I would never ride one in New York City, DC's wide streets make it really easy and feels safe to get around in. You can see the pure joy in my face. Our Thanksgiving meal was spent at El Cielo, which is a Michelin-starred Colombian restaurant. We didn't opt for the most expensive meal, which they called the Experience, and is a 20-plate meal that costs $289. Instead, we got the slimmed-down 10-plate Chef's Choice, which costs $178 per person. But they also offer an a la carte option if you don't want a fixed price menu. Service was impeccable, which you would hope would be for that price. The food was good, and the presentation of all the plates was beautiful and interesting. However, none of the dishes really blew us away, so I can't say it was worth the price, but it was a nice change of pace from the usual turkey dinner you get for Thanksgiving. Here we are, post-Thanksgiving meal. Old Deborah Downer.
Not me.
Thoughts, collections, recollections.
Food was good, but not deserving of the price. Had a good time. And staff was extremely nice. Melissa gave them a third degree.
In
Wanted
what
to know
way?
their home countries where they came, vacation recommendations.
I merely asked if he was from Colombia. He said no.
And then he went and got somebody that was from Colombia, so you could continue asking.
What was my question?
That was hours ago.
It was, were there Asian immigrants in Colombia because the food had a lot of...
Japanese influence. And his answer was no. And the questions didn't stop there.
What else did I ask?
So specifically, where was he from in Mexico? And
Which was? Do you remember? Morelas.
Morales.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Morales. Hour and a half south of Mexico City.
He had to pass a lake.
Is a common lake that people from Mexico City go to see. But he definitely recommended Oaxaca. Oaxaca. And Mexico City for food, but to go visit Morales for its charm. I just totally made that shit up.
He didn't really say.
No, he doesn't shit.
He said it was better than Mexico City. And then we said we heard Mexico City was good for food, and he said...
And he recants it.
Yes.
But yeah. It was a good dinner. Great dinner? No, it wasn't.
Oh, wait, sorry, say that
It
again.
was not a great dinner.
Wow.
I wouldn't go back.
What's your opinion on Michelin star restaurants?
It's subjective. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
I don't trust what people say for Michelin stars. We just gotta eat there ourselves. So my wife wins again.
Happy Thanksgiving. Good morning, my love. You want to trade? What are we doing today? We're going home? No, one last ride. Yep. Let me get you an action shot rolling with it. There he goes. Which way are we going? This was our final day in DC, so we took some scooters, of course, to try a new place that was open. Dua DC is DC's first Indonesian women-owned specialty coffee shop, and it looked really promising. So, it was okay? Nah, we need...
Coffee was better yesterday.
Oh, interesting. All right, here we we go, Scooter Gang, round 3. After breakfast, we scooted back to the hotel, then packed up to head to Great Falls Park, which is a small national park about 30 minutes from downtown DC. Skirt, skirt! You're so good at putting the kickstand up. Driving through the city, you can see how empty the city felt, which was great. Be aware though when you're driving to make sure you pay attention to speed signs because someone got us a speeding ticket under this bridge, which we found out later cost us $150. So all you speed demons out there, just be mindful. Heading towards the park took us through Georgetown, which is pretty cute and another part of DC that I'd love to visit on a separate trip. It has this local neighborhood vibe feel going on that would be really fun to walk around in. We got stuck in traffic for a while due to a Palestinian protest going on, but hey, that's just part of city life. There were more gorgeous views leaving the city and crossing the Potomac and driving through Arlington. This main road took us all the way to the park's entrance, but it was so windy that I ended up getting carsick and couldn't film the insane mansions that lined both sides of the road. I'm sorry, guys. I wish I could have got them for you guys, but it was like 10 to 15 minutes of just mansion after mansion after mansion. It was crazy. Arriving at the park entrance, be prepared for a wait if you get there after 9 a.m. like we did. Locals recommend getting there before 9 to beat the entrance line, but due to the traffic leaving the city caused by the protest, we didn't arrive until noon, so we had a good 30-minute wait. The entrance fee per vehicle is $20. One of the reasons I wanted to visit this park is because it has a trail that takes you to an abandoned ghost town called Matildaville. The trail isn't even that far from the park entrance. I'd say it's less than a 10-minute walk. The ruins are what's left from a town built in 1785 that served as the headquarters for the Potomac Company. The founder of the town was early American patriot Henry Lee, who's the father of later Confederate General Robert E. Lee, and he named the town after his first wife. At its peak, Matildaville housed a market, sawmill, an inn, workers' barracks, a boarding house, and some homes. Today, only a few stone ruins remain, but it's still pretty cool to walk through. There are a few other trails that take you throughout the park, but because it started raining, we didn't stay for very long. We ended up taking a small trail that looped back to the main fall area. It wasn't super crowded, but by the time we left, it was difficult to get a good spot on the viewing platforms. They have several viewing areas that jut out over the river so you can see the falls, and on the other side of the river is Maryland. It was getting kind of cold, so after getting our photos, we decided to pack up and head back home. Thank you guys so much for joining us on our little Thanksgiving trip. Hopefully, Grumpy Kellen will find some better coffee on our next one.